A priceless haul, a crack team of thieves, a plan that can't fail. Welcome to the world of heist films, a genre with a familiar setup, but the infinite pleasures of watching smooth criminals try to beat the odds and avoid getting caught. While selecting the 25 best heist films, we leaned heavily on the importance of the heist to the movie's plot. So for example, the crime spree itself is perhaps more entertaining in Fantastic Mr. Fox than in the Wes Anderson film we chose, but the former isn't really thought of as a heist movie. Our choices span several decades and aren't all in English. Most are thrillers, all a few are comedies. In some, our anti-heroes prevail. Other times, everything goes terribly wrong. But what connects them all is the primal rush of landing the big score. Don't try any of this at home.
Recently, I planned and set in motion events to execute the perfect bank robbery. That's also the when. As for the why, beyond the obvious financial motivation, it's exceedingly simple. Because I can.
Welcome to Cinematic. This video is about the 25 best heist movies of all time. Before I begin with this masterpiece, I request you to subscribe to Cinematic, like and share this video, and stay tuned with us. Also, follow our page on Instagram @Cinematic3 and on Twitter, TheCinematic3. On number 25, Baby Driver in 2017.
Doc, is he retarded?
Retarded means slow. Was he slow?
No.
Then you don't sound retarded to me.
As with all of the Wrights movies, Baby Driver is a pastiche of 100,000 other cool films, but its almost musical approach to the heist film is consistently kicky, complete with the kinds of double crosses, plot twists, and big payoff that the genre demands. On number 24, The Town in 2010.
No, you decided to bang it out in the North End at 9 o'clock in the morning with assault rifles. You dummies shot a guard.
The Brothers in Crime Boston thriller has been done to death, but the Boondock Saints this isn't. A flex's emotional currents might be lunk-headed at times, but they're still there and they're still effective. And how do you not admire a Boston crime movie where they try to rob a Fenway Park? On number 23, The Italian Job in 1969.
We are about to do a job in Italy. It's a very difficult job, and the only way to get through it is we all work together as a team. And that means you do everything I say.
Kane plays Charlie, a professional hood just out of jail who puts together a team to steal some gold. Before he became Christopher Nolan's patron saint of emotive, remorseful, aging father figures, Kane was a dashing on-screen rake, and in The Italian Job, he's full of swagger and wry comic timing, surrounded by a killer British ensemble that includes Noel Coward and Benny Hill. As for that ending, it's the king of cliffhangers. Next, Fast 5 in 2011.
And above all else, we don't ever let them get in the cars.
Home sweet home.
In order to make sure the series didn't go stale, the producers of the Fast and Furious franchise made two major adjustments before Fast 5. They veered away from the street racing and toward a heist theme, and they added The Rock. Mission accomplished. It's more fun to watch cars being chased after a heist than watching them race each other, which more than $1 billion later, we all now know. On number 21, Logan Lucky in 2017.
Can you just get to the part of why you think you can do this?
I'll know how they move the money.
Steven Soderbergh's return from retirement movie was basically a down-home, West Virginiaized version of Ocean's 11, with a younger cast dealing with adverse economic conditions by trying to rob the Coca-Cola 500 in Charlotte. On number 20, Ronin in 1998.
Nobody can hold out indefinitely.
Is that so?
Yeah, everybody has a limit. I spent some time in interrogation once.
They make it hard on you?
They don't make it easy. Yeah, it was unpleasant.
The heist itself in Ronin is sort of beside the point, or at least the case of money they're all trying to steal is. All that matters is that everybody wants it and will do whatever it takes to get it. On number 19, Bottle Rocket in 1996.
I'm paying attention. God damn it! You're not paying attention if you're messing around with the gun. Now quit. Anthony, just keep the gun on the table.
Crazy schemes are often central to Wes Anderson's stories, and here's where his and his wonderstruck characters' dreams first took flight. Bottle Rocket concerns three friends, Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson, Robert Musgrave, who tried their hand at being professional criminals, to limited effect, most of it comedic. On number 18, Sexy Beast in 2000.
What do you want?
Your cigarette. You have to put it out.
Cigarette? What? This? No, I'm not gonna put it out.
You must.
What's that?
If you don't, we can't take off.
Well, that's your problem, isn't it?
The real fun of Sexy Beast is Ray Winstone's gal, a former gangster who wants to retire and be left alone in peace, but just can't get away. The way he pulls off the one last heist reveals a guy who probably has done a few of these one last heists and knows how they all end. On number 17, Inside Man in 2006.
Here lies Peter Hammond, hero, who valiantly attempted to prevent a brilliant bank robbery by trying to hide his cellular phone, but wound up getting shot in the fucking head.
Spike Lee's big mainstream studio heist movie is so expertly done and was so financially successful, it remains infuriating and confounding that he never got the money to do another one again. This is a great New York City bank heist movie, and Lee's familiarity with and love for the city shines through in every shot, from the cops and feds descending on the bank to the food vendors watching along helplessly. On number 16, A Fish Called Wanda in 1988. Remember, Aristotle was not Belgian. The central message of Buddhism is not every man for himself, and the London Underground is not a political movement. Those are all mistakes, Otto. She looked them up. On number 15, The Bank Job in 2008.
You gotta help.
Eddie, what am I supposed to do? You tell him we don't have it.
No, Terry. Terry, you gotta help.
Tell him I don't have his fucking ledger. You tell that cunt now.
Director Roger Donaldson savors every single unbelievable twist while emphasizing the peculiar characters at the end of this caper. Mostly eschewing the high-octane action that has been his bread and butter, Statham gives us a classic tough guy vexed by his diminished expectations and regrets, and the whole ensemble embraces the film's lean mean approach. On number 14, Heat in 1995. Robert De Niro is still the emotional strength of the film, as the professional criminal who never loses focus, until at last he does, and of course Al Pacino rants and raves and screams as the Fed equally obsessed with taking him down.
Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
The diner scene is still the centerpiece of the film, but the movie is even better when it goes big and loud. It's tough not to walk through Los Angeles sometimes and think of the violent bank heist shoutout that dominates the middle third of the film. On number 13, Dog Day Afternoon in 1975.
Are they on the phone now?
Yeah.
That's great, Leon. You know, that's really terrific. You talk to me with them on the phone. That's really smart.
Well, I don't have a choice.
What do you mean you didn't have a choice?
Well, what am I supposed to do? I mean, they're standing all around me. There's 7,000 fucking cops all around me.
Director Sidney Lumet bathes the film in New York atmosphere, but it's equally dazzling in its depiction of the troubles that can occur when ill-prepared men undertake a foolish, dangerous endeavor. On number 12, The Usual Suspects in 1995.
He's gone. Underground. Nobody's ever seen him since. He becomes a myth, a spook story that criminals tell their kids at night. Rat on your pop, and Kaiser Soze will get you.
This film is an excellent litmus test to see if you can still enjoy films of those whose off-screen malfeasances repels us. Spacey is unquestionably great, so if you still can't watch him in this, a totally understandable impulse, you know once and for all where you stand. On number 11, Quick Change in 1990. Controversial opinion, this is our favorite Bill Murray movie. The only movie Murray directed, co-directed with Howard Franklin, begins with Murray's grim, dressed as a clown, robbing a bank, and then getting himself and his accomplices Gina Davis and Randy Quaid, released as hostages. It's a perfect plan, until of course everything goes wrong, and everything goes wrong in a way that is uniquely New York City. On number 10, Reservoir Dogs in 1992. The Sundance hit that started it all, for Quentin Tarantino, for Tim Roth, for Steve Buscemi, for basically the next decade of American cinema.
You're acting like a first-year thief. I'm acting like a professional.
Tarantino wears his influences on his sleeve in his debut, maybe too much, and it's too talky and self-absorbed. Whoa, what talk and self-absorption? Many filmmakers took the wrong lessons from Reservoir Dogs, but it was obvious from the very first frames that Tarantino was a transcendent talent. On number 9, Three Kings in 1999.
What kind of shine y'all got?
A shrine near a holy man that gives him comfort and access to paradise.
Hey, that sounds like a pretty good shrine, right, Chief?
Three Kings isn't exactly a comedy, but it is bitterly funny, about masculinity, about ugly Americans, about the chaos that can happen in wartime. This was the beginning of Clooney's successful transition from ER heartthrob to a serious film actor, and the movie, especially in hindsight, feels like an unheeded warning about the limits of America's influence overseas. On number 8, The Sting in 1973.
What's so funny? I just made the world's easiest $5,000.
The Sting is the cinematic equivalent of that one friend who just got into magic and really can't wait to show you all the tricks he learned. It's too eager to please and a little pushy about insisting that you be charmed by the whole thing. On number 7, Jackie Brown in 1997.
Don't say anything else, okay? Keep your mouth shut.
Well...
I mean, don't say one fucking word, okay?
Okay, Lewis.
It's also the first movie after Pulp Fiction and one that didn't get the glowing notices of that film, and may have caused Tarantino to head back to audience-pleasing whiz-bang action. That's fine, of course. The movies after this are great too, but this is the one Tarantino film that feels relaxed, calmed, intelligent, and even a little pensive, like he wants to get it exactly right. He wouldn't be that disciplined in his later films. Whether or not you think that's a good thing is your own personal taste, but Tarantino's career was never same after this, for better or for worse. On number 6, Out of Sight in 1998.
He has a gun in there. And if you don't do exactly what I tell you, or if you give me any kind of a problem at all, I'm going to look over at my partner and he's going to shoot your Mr. Gwendon between the eyes.
The only reason this is lower than another Steven Soderbergh George Clooney movie on this list is that it's not exclusively a heist movie. But know that we do consider this Soderbergh's best movie. It's sensuous and seductive and smart and funky and appropriately weird. A wonderful combination of Soderbergh being playful and always doing his best after a series of missteps to deliver the studio a hit. On number 5, Inception in 2010. Inception is the cerebral filmmaker's most tormented work, casting Leonardo DiCaprio as the leader of a team of criminals who enter people's subconscious to steal or implant valuable ideas.
Well, dreams, they feel real while we're in them, right? It's only when we wake up that we realize something was actually strange. Let me ask you a question. You never really remember the beginning of a dream, do you? You always wind up right in the middle of what's going on.
The explanation of how that all works is fascinating enough, but on top of it, Nolan layers a pained love story in which our hero is haunted by the spectral presence of his dead wife. Part action blockbuster, part existential exploration of the soul, Inception is a cool, cutting-edge spectacle with a brooding poignancy underneath. On number 4, Ocean's 11 in 2001.
You know what your problem is?
I only have one.
You've met too many people like you. I'm with Terry now.
Does he make you laugh?
He doesn't make me cry.
Ocean's 11 is a movie about a preposterous scheme that is itself a ridiculous proposition. These type of star-studded affairs usually fall flat on their face due to toxic smugness. Instead, Soderbergh, Clooney, Brad Pitt, and the rest of the crew got away scot-free, delivering a caper as dry as a martini and as sharp as the men's suits. And the sequels are better than they've been given credit. On number 3, Reefy in 1955. The pleasure of watching experts do their job impeccably draws viewers to sporting events, ballets, and concert recitals. Similarly, with Reefy, American director Jules Dassin lets us bask in the stone-cold brilliance of his gang of criminals as they go about robbing a jewelry store safe. The cast led by Gene Cervais exudes no-nonsense efficiency, which makes the characters unraveling after the heist all the more bittersweet. They may be exquisite thieves, but they are deeply flawed human beings. On number 2, Bonnie and Clyde in 1967.
We rob banks.
Bonnie and Clyde wasn't the first film to romanticize the doomed love of outsiders fighting against the system. But for America and Hollywood, this tale of Bonnie and Clyde became ground zero for a fashionable new way of thinking about on-screen heroes. On number 1, The Killing in 1956.
5 years have taught me one thing, if nothing else. Anytime you take a chance, you better be sure the rewards are worth the risk, because they can put you away just as fast for a $10 heist as they can for a $1 million job.
It makes sense that a director as meticulous as Stanley Kubrick would make the greatest heist film ever. After all, the perfect crime needs perfect planning. And although lots of heist films contain unhappy endings, none is so smooth, so cruel, so perfect. Now we are planning a heist to steal your hearts and throw them into ocean of cinema. Only one step that you need to take care of is subscribing to us.